Hi everybody, this is David Pyle and this is a Screencastomatic tutorial on how to make your paper perfect MLA format. MLA format stands for Modern Language Association and it's the required format for all materials for the undergrad level. And when you get to grad school, they'll give you a different format to learn. Modern Language Association visually puts everybody's paper looking exactly the same. So in theory, it prevents bias, which means putting favorable or unfavorable weight on the material based on how it looks instead of the content that it possesses. So whether a professor asks for MLA style or not, what we're about to teach you here is perfect MLA format, and really a person should follow this no matter what. As you can see here on the screen, we're looking at a Microsoft Word document, and it's a very just open blank screen. The first thing you're going to want to do is go up to page layout here, and we want to change the margins on our papers. Normally by default, which means the only choice offered to somebody, we may have something more like this. I see 1 inch on the sides, 1 inch on the top and the bottom, and the left and right margins are a little bit larger than they need to be here. So if you've not already selected 1 inch margins all the way around, this is a choice that we need to make. Also on your home computers, a lot of this material you can set it up once and just hit the default button, which will keep your paper every time you open Microsoft Word. It will keep the settings for you so you don't have to end up changing it every time. So that's the margins there. Under Home, I can see that the default here is Calibri for our font, but we actually need Times New Roman font. So we're going to select that, and we're also going to select 12 point Times New Roman font. Now, at the upper left is going to be your name here, your first and last name. So we type that here. Next is going to be your professor name. So it's be Miss Professor name here. Oh, I misspelled professor. I'm going to go ahead and right click on that and change that. Next, we're going to have the class, and let's just say this is English 111 class. And then the last thing, we're going to have the date, and we use the date, we actually write it in military time, just like this. So this is a little icing on the cake that if you get this day of the month, and then the year of the month, that's perfect. The title would naturally come next in the material, and a title gets capital letters for all the words. The title is also centered in the middle of the page as well. So we're going to highlight this text here by left clicking on your mouse. So you left click and highlight just like this. And we can see that we're centered left up here, aligned left at the middle or at the top of the page. We want to select middle like that, just like this. And now, since we're going to be typing regular material, we go ahead and select it back to the left. The indentation, if I select the predetermined or default tab setting for this material and I hit tab, it moves it in this much, which is for most computers too far. So what a person could do, we go in and indent, start a new paragraph with only 5 spaces only. So you can either decide to do it old school like I do and just tap the space bar 5 times like this, or you could also by default set your tab button up here on the ribbon, the Microsoft Word ribbon, to reflect only 5 places. And time for all good men to come to the aid of their country. So there we go. So that's perfect. That's five spaces in, and we got 12-point font, etc., etc. Now, there is one thing that we must do under Microsoft Word. You have to go in behind the scenes to under the paragraph at the top here to change a paragraph setting. What we're specifically looking at is the spacing issue. You can see the before spacing is at 0, but the after by default is either going to be 10 or 12 places. We need to bring that down to 0. All material that you type should be double space, so we're going to change that to double. And we also don't want to add any extra space between paragraphs of the same style. So all three of these adjustments must be made on your computer. You can see the default button down here is set as default. And once again, if I just do this one time, then this will allow my computer to save all these changes so I don't have to go in and make them every time. Now, if you are typing at Robert Morris University, when the computers are turned off at the end of the night, they're all called what we say swipe clean, meaning that you're going to have to make the changes every single time. But this is exactly what we want, and I'm typing here. And it's kind of hard actually to type, I see, and talk at the same time. But anyway, this is actually perfect double space, and it's exactly what we need. And every time that we hit a new paragraph, it won't add any extra space. This, under the paragraph feature here that we've changed to 0, if you've ever, in this area here of your paper, had where your student name and the professor's name were extra space, that was because we didn't make the adjustment that's needed here under spacing under the paragraph tab here at the top. And you can see I clicked just in the corner of this box up here for the additional drop-down information that I need here. Now, the only thing left that we need to do is add what we call a header. A header is going to be your last name and the page number at the top of your page. So what I'm going to do here is from the top of the ribbon under Word, I'm going to click Insert here. Now it makes sense to say that we're adding a header to go to header, but there's an even easier way to do it. So what we're actually going to do is to add a page number. We know that the header of each material is going to be at the top of the page, and it's going to be on the right of the page. So I can see here this is in the numbers in the left, and this one's in the middle, and this one's in the right. So I select that, and that's the one that we need here. Now what I'm going to do is hit the back arrow, the left arrow cursor on the arrow button keys on the keyboard here. And what that basically does is to separate the cursor from the number on your header. So if your last name is Jones, you would just type Jones here and hit a space just like this. So we need only one space between your last name and the header up here. And I also see that the default setting for up here in the header is Calibri as well. We need to change this to Microsoft Times New Roman font as well. So I'm going to highlight the entire last name there. We're going to be using Times New Roman, and we'll change this to 12. Now to close the header, to get back to being able to type in the page, the student would just double click anywhere on the page itself, and this is exactly again what we're left with. And now you can see that when I hit the enter button here and I advance to page 2, our header is automatically in the perfect spot that it needs to be here, Jones 2. So it will do it for you automatically. So once again, go to Insert, and we're actually inserting a page number at the top to make your header. So you can kind of see the beginnings of a very crisp and professionally looking paper here. I would just save this, and you can even have save a dummy page, so to speak, just save as MLA, and then use this exact same format every time you need to produce a perfect MLA format. So thanks for listening, and I hope that this helps get your paper